Hello and welcome. Well, pull up a chair, dear friends, because I am about to tell you a rather remarkable tale that most history books conveniently forgot to mention. You see, back in 1687, right here where I am sitting in Thailand, though it was called Siam back then, a series of absolutely bonkers events led to what you might call the shortest war you have never heard of. And trust me, after spending many years in this wonderful chaos of a country, I can tell you that some things never change, especially when it comes to mixing business with politics. Picture this. It is the late 17th century and Mergui Port is the equivalent of today's Singapore, which is today Myanmar, minus the gleaming skyscrapers and overpriced cocktails, of course. Situated on a peninsula jutting out into the Andaman Sea, the town of Maik has been a busy and strategically significant port for over 500 years. Previously known as Mergui and sometimes referred to by that name, it retains a number of colonial era buildings on its characterful Mirandin back streets. Furthermore, everyone wanted a piece of it. The English East India Company, those notorious corporate thugs of their day, were practically foaming at the mouth to control these trade routes. Rather like my neighbour's dog when I'm grilling satay, come to think of it. However, here is where it gets interesting. And by interesting, I mean absolutely mad. The key player in this drama was not even English or Siamese. Enter Constantine Falcon, a Greek adventurer who somehow managed to become the chief advisor to King Narai. Now, imagine a Greek fellow telling the King of Siam how to deal with the British. It's like having a penguin teach you how to survive in the desert. King Narai, bless his soul, was actually quite a forward-thinking chap. He wanted to modernise Siam and play the European powers against each other. Quite clever, really. Then you had the East India Company, led by one Ihu Yao. Yes, that's Yao, the university chap, though I doubt he started a war with Siam on his CV. Now, here is where everything went pear-shaped. The Siamese accused English traders of piracy, which, let us be honest, was probably true. I mean, have you ever met a completely honest merchant? No, neither have I. Nevertheless, what happened next at Mergui Port was about as diplomatic as a durian fruit to the face. The infamous Mergui Massacre, and trust me, it was no small matter. English sailors were brutally killed, which, as you might imagine, did not exactly improve Anglo-Siamese relations. The East India Company was furious, and when those chaps got angry, they did not just write strongly worded letters, they sent warships. But here is the truly fascinating bit. This was not just about trade or revenge. While all this was happening, Siam was cooking up its own internal revolution. It was like watching a game of chess when somebody suddenly flips a board and declares they are playing Monopoly instead. The revolution of 1688 overthrew King Narai, and poor old Falcon, well, let us just say he probably wished he had stayed in Greece. The new rulers promptly slammed the door shut on British trade faster than a Bangkok taxi driver refusing the fare during rush hour. Furthermore, when I say shut, I mean for 20 years. You know, it is rather ironic when you think about it. The British, who went on to colonise half the world, could not get a foothold here in Siam. This little war, brief as it was, helped Thailand become the only Southeast Asian nation to resist European colonisation. Not bad for a conflict that lasted shorter than the British summer, eh? However, here is the kicker. Today you can still visit Mergui, though it is in Myanmar now. It has changed a bit since the 1680s, but every time I read about it, I cannot help but think about those English sailors and Siamese soldiers, probably all arguing over trade terms while drinking something considerably stronger than tea. Therefore, next time someone tells you that Thailand and Britain have always been the best of friends, just smile and nod. And perhaps, if you are feeling particularly cheeky, ask them about the time when a Greek businessman, an English trading company and a Siamese king walked into a bar, or rather a war. Though I must say, these days the only Anglo-Siamese conflicts I see are over who makes the better cup of tea. Moreover, trust me, after more than 3 decades here, I have learned to keep my opinions on that particular matter strictly to myself. So, there you have it. A brief walk through the Anglo-Siamese War. And if you enjoyed my take on the event, please hit the like button and leave me a comment. You could also subscribe to the channel to avoid missing out on my other videos. After all, it is free. Right then, that is it. Until my next video, it is a very goodbye from me. Bye bye.